Molten here. Thank you for joining me for this week's turning project video. I hope you are all well and you have had super creative weeks and weekends in your workshops. This week I turn my attention to a wall hanging, a decorative wall hanging, in the centre of which is some molten lead with some coke thrown all over it to create the random pattern there. And it's the second go at getting it right. I got all the way to finishing the first attempt when I scratched the lacquer on the front of on the top of this piece. Long story, very unspectacular, so it's just not worth showing. So this piece I've also scorched it a little bit around the edges and stuff, but you'll see all of that in the video. I've seen molten lead done in this kind of experiment before lots of times on YouTube, but I haven't actually seen it used creatively in a piece like this, be it wood turned or otherwise. So who knows, maybe this is a first, I don't know, we'll see. Needless to say, pouring molten lead into wood is potentially very dangerous, so if you do attempt it, then please do make sure you take all appropriate and reasonable safety measures to protect yourself and also anybody around you and your workshop and stuff like that. So I'm going to stop gassing. Thank you very much indeed for all of your comments on recent videos and stuff like that. Big warm welcome to all new subscribers, and if you do feel so inclined, then please do like, share and subscribe, and I will see you for the turning. So, taking the lessons learned from the one that got so close to finishing, I've now got a 10.5 inch blank of maple. I've got an inclusion here which I want to get rid of, plus I've also got the beginning, I've got a bit of a split here, and which could potentially come across here. So I've dribbled a load of thin CA glue in there to support it, and hopefully it doesn't go down too deeply, but I dare say we'll find out. And also, because it's only 1.5 inches thick, and this time I want to use a recess in the bottom of the piece to support it, I've had to put a spacer on the bottom so the worm screw doesn't go in as far as it would do, which will give me a little bit of extra room at the bottom to play with. That feels quite good. So bring the tailstock up. Right, let's try again. Shape-wise, I want to have something similar to Golden Fire, but this central boss, I actually want to be a dish rather than a bulge as it were, because the lead that I'm going to pour into it is going to form the centre bit, so I need a scoop down like this and a dish, a little dish to put the lead in. And perhaps a similar shape to the back of this piece, but fairly flat without a foot. Right, and then with the recess cut, that will form the hook so it can sit nicely on the wall when it's finished, I hope. Now I'm going to finish that down to just 240. I'll just finish off the shape, get rid of some of these tool marks, and then I can flick it round in the chuck, reverse it in the chuck and do the inside. Now I am slightly worried, very slightly worried about this split. But first of all, I need to get the piece flat on the top so we can see, potentially see just how bad it is. You may have noticed I've just gone through the bottom of the piece. But I'm going to carry on. Right, I might have made a funnel, which isn't exactly ideal. So I need to put something for the lead to key to on the inside, so when I pour the lead, it fits, or it slips into some grooves in the wood, which when it sets hard forms like a lock, so it can't fall out. So I'm going to do those with the thin parting tool. I only need a couple. Yeah, that's enough of those. Now I'm going to sand the whole piece down just to 80 grit at the moment. Maybe more. Yeah, we'll see. And then I'm going to, whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to figure out a way of plugging that hole so lots of lead doesn't come pouring through. Honestly, I never make anything easy for myself, do I? Right, let's sand this baby down. Right, I've got the piece off the lathe. I've tidied up my little funnel hole at the bottom, and the whole piece has been sanded down to, I think it was 120. But this inside ring here at the top of the crucible has been finished down to 400, just in case when I pour the lead, any lead spills into there. So next, I'm going to turn it over, and I've got a waste block of U here, and I've covered the end quite a lot with wax to stop the lead hopefully penetrating the wood. Well, just to, I don't know, just try something just to stop the U being stuck to the back of the piece. And I'm going to just place it over there, over the hole. Doesn't need to be too precise, but then I'm going to hot glue, and with any luck, with any luck, the glue and the U will be able to hold the lead back for a few seconds only. It really doesn't take very long for the lead to kind of set hard again, and I only need the U to just hold it back, just to stem the flow like a plug, just until it gets hard, the lead goes hard, and then I'll be safe and it's not all gonna, you know, sink on through. Now we come to the fun part. The glue, the hot glue on the bottom of the, or round the U piece in the centre here has gone off, and I'm happy with that. Now I've also got a pan of lead, lead which is left over from yesterday, a little spare tin here which I can collect the impurities in using a little ladle. I'm going to be wearing a respirator when I do this because it is potentially, well, it is poisonous. The fumes from lead are poisonous. And for the pour, I'm going to wear face shield, gauntlets, smock, and because I'm not absolutely certain what's going to happen, I'm fairly aware of what's going to happen because I did it yesterday with the bowl that messed up. But you never know what's going to happen, particularly when you pour the coke on, so I'm going to be doing it from behind a shield as well. So I forgot to mention that the foil is there to afford some kind of protection for the rest of the piece in case there's any lead spillage, and it's also resting in a bowl which is on a piece of wood at the bottom and levelled off as much as I kind of need it really. And then throw the coke on. Wow. Wowee. I think I'm going to put a bit more in. Well, I think that went quite well, and now I can peel the foil off. There are a few little burn marks in there, but that's okay. And then anything else around here that I don't like, I can pull off or cut off with a craft knife, and then we're done. Wow, that looks really cool. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. The glue block came off well, that came off really easily. So I tidied up the back, and the lead just pokes through a little bit, which is actually, I think, quite a nice feature. So I want to see if it's warped at all whilst having the very hot lead poured into it. So it's back into the chuck carefully. Oh, look at that. I think that's more luck than judgment. Now I've got a few burny marks round here where the lead dropped onto the wood, which are interesting, but I think what I need to do is kind of even this line up around here. So I'm going to take the blowtorch to it, and I've got to be careful because the lead melts at a lower temperature than the flame, so got to be careful. Glasses. And as you can see, I've dusted the lathe down as well. That's really important when you're going to be using a blowtorch. Now ideally I need a blowtorch with a smaller flame, but I haven't got one, but I will get one. I'm really pleased with that. This little hole in the middle is really quite an interesting feature. But before I finish the whole thing, the lead needs to cool down properly. It's not too bad. Right, so I've got some clear nail varnish here. Compliments of my girlfriend, bless her. And to hopefully stop the lead from oxidising and dulling, I'm going to just paint. I'm going to paint it on. Now it's about 10 minutes later, something like that, and the nail varnish is dried, and hopefully you can see the really interesting pattern that was formed when I threw the coke onto it. Why it creates that, because I don't know. When I was experimenting with this last year, not on video but just playing essentially, I tried it with Coke, Diet Coke, lemonade and water, you know, that kind of stuff, and I couldn't get the same effect to happen as doing it with red Coke or full fat Coke. Right, now I can go back to the what's it called? That thing, bowl sander, that's it. I can do the bowl sander down to 4. Oh, actually, hang on. It's missing something. I'm going to sand it down to 400 as usual, and the back as well. And then I need to burn this edge. I've decided I need to burn the rim. Right, so now we're down to 240. Can you see what I mean? The inside is very heavy, decorative wise, but there's nothing really to frame it on the outside. So before I go down to 400, I want to put a black line on the inside of the top of the wall here, and then I can sand back right up to that line. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be a very thin line just to echo the one on the inside, which needs a little bit of a touch up. That is very, very nice. Danish oil next. I bet you're relieved I wasn't going to colour it, aren't you? Well, I decided, in my infinite wisdom, that I didn't like the whole piece to be to have a coat of Danish oil on it. So I went back to 120 and sanded off all of the Danish oil on the inside, and then sanded back down to 400. So we've got this light and dark. Now with the oil, I'm not sure if you can see that, but the figure is really, really glowing here. The chatoyance coming off the rim is spectacularly lovely. So I'm not sure what I want to do in the middle here. I want to have I will need to seal it, so I'll probably use a cellulose sanding sealer. But I'm not sure. The only thing I can do is suck it and see. And I'll do a little bit, but if I do a little bit, then I've got to do all of it, because there isn't a bit of this that's inconspicuous. So hopefully it won't darken the wood too much. Well, it has darkened it a little bit, which is kind of to be expected. But not as much, I don't think, as the Danish oil. there we are. I think I am ready to call that finished. Now all I need to do is take it off the lathe, find somewhere in the house to hang it where I can sit down and gaze upon it and wonder if I actually like it. It's been, as you saw, I've finished it with cellulose sanding sealer, and over the top of that I put a couple of coats of Hampshire sheen on, waited for it to dry, then buffed it up. The effect in the centre with the lead is interesting, and it will always be different no matter what you do to it. Every time you pour the coke onto it, it's going to be different. So whether or not I like it, I don't know, but it's one of those things you've got to give it a go to see if you do like it. And if you don't, you're kind of stuck because you've poured it in and you can't get it back out again. You could, I suppose, create a ceramic crucible for you to pour the lead in, and then put the lead into a recess, into a little bowl in the bottom of a piece if you wanted to. That's another alternative. But yeah, I'm not sure. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will look forward to seeing you again very soon for another turning video. Bye for now.